So my name is Ashley Keena, and I'm the relocation director here at C21 Beggins. And my partner.
And I'm Joe Diener, and I am in South Tampa. I'm the sales manager there, and I also sell, and I'm also the manager there.
Awesome. So I was going to go ahead and share my screen, I believe.
Yes.
And Joe and I are going to go through a few things and explain what we do and how we can help you make a lot of money.
We're here to talk about the experience. You know, the amazing part of this is the fact that we are dealing in the largest transaction that these people will have in their lifetime. So, and we're dealing with it. And, you know, it's amazing. And it's rewarding to help people find what they need in their home. And, you know, it's amazing. We get to meet new friends and make new friends. And I have many clients that have become very good friends. So
meet new friends and keep them. It's the whole name of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now it's C21 Beggins relocation. We want to kind of explain that to you. Okay. So basically we work with different programs. Okay. When you hear me say affinity or corporate clients, there's little things to that. And I just want you all to know that you can work those clients if that happens. And we'll get into that in a little bit as well. We work with people, even though relocation sounds like you have to move across the country, we work with people that are moving across the street, country, and the world. So please utilize these programs to your benefit. Big deal here, guys. All referrals are going to be placed through the relocation department. Okay. So you do not have to go out and, oh, that's what I meant to do. You do not have to go out and research Bob and Jane from Virginia and hope that their profile is up to date and true and that they're full-time agents at the whole 9 yards. So, and we'll get into that as well in a moment. And then also, we don't need to get into the increase on all that stuff. Okay. What is an outgoing referral, Joe?
An outgoing referral is when I have someone here in Tampa who wants to move to South Carolina. And it's very easy. I go on and click the referral and send it over to Ashley and said, these dear friends of mine are moving to South Carolina. And the network has vetted these agents. And so Ashley then gets a hold of the director from the other area, and we set up somebody.
No, it's awesome. And now we have a new app, and I'm going to actually share that with everybody at the end of this presentation, Joe. So let's remind me to do that, so that everybody can download it now. It's awesome. So what you do is I've got somebody moving to San Diego. I am going to say, you're going to put the client information in, check out the agents, look at their bios, see if you need somebody that speaks Spanish or the number of years that they have been in, and you click that person and you direct contact to them, and it's awesome. So that way, you're not, maybe God forbid I'm in a grocery store with my mask on and on a Sunday afternoon and you needed it immediately, you can reach that agent immediately. So it's not waiting on me. It's not waiting on the other relocation department, and it goes directly to them. And we've had some really good success. It's just going to get better and better, guys. So I'm going to show you how to, after Joe talks, I'm going to show you at the very end, and we're all going to download the app together. It's going to be awesome and easy. Okay. So yeah. So I do want to make sure we do have these cute little things that is available to you, as well as we also have scripting. So all it's really going to take is you to copy and paste to remind your friends and family that you can help them anywhere, right? And even if somebody is not in Florida, maybe your aunt from Virginia is moving to California, you can help them on both sides. If we're not talking about this, you guys are leaving money on the table for sure. You've earned this real estate license, and let's use it.
I was going to say, Ashley, the one reason we do this is we're making money on that outgoing referral. That agent is very nice for us. They're doing all the work and they're sending us a referral feedback.
It's the most money you're going to make per minute ever. Yeah. Right? We're making more money. It takes like just a couple minutes to get the information and put them in a phone. or the link that we provide. I do want to say that it is not always a Century 21 broker. Okay. So Joe understands that when you send something to me, we have this awesome network of people. And even if there's a Century 21 there, it's not always necessarily, they're not always necessarily in my network, but we have some really cool, like, partners. Okay. I guess.
Maybe. There we go.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, we'll talk about how we get them, right? So we already kind of discussed talking about, you know, how you have the conversation about it. But don't forget church groups, all your spouse's contacts, children activities, definitely your SOI. Make sure right now as you're getting all your information set up, tell them that you can help them anywhere, especially if you're a new agent coming in to the business for the first time, or an agent that just moved from another state. Joe, how many times do we have somebody that moved from another state and they say, oh, I'm having to start from scratch. Well, you're not really. You can still use that SOI to get those outgoing referrals. And let me tell you guys, the best part about these companies that we work with is they are vetted. They are not just an XYZ company, okay? So it is, they're top trained agents, extra background check. We've got a guarantee that we're gonna get paid. So if we give it to them and they close on something, we are guaranteed to get paid. So, so make sure you're always remembering to do that when you're talking to people, FSBOs, expireds, when you're making those phone calls, make sure you're offering a service to them as well. Because Joe, think about it. If you're a FSBO, do you want to pay any money for me to list your house?
No.
But what if I went up to you and offered you a free service for the buy side in Texas, because that's where you're moving? Would you talk to me a little bit?
Oh yeah, definitely. And maybe soften up the relationship where I'm really trying to help him and not really trying to sell his house here.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. We didn't plan that.
No, actually,
we haven't planned anything.
The other thing I wanted to, sometimes there's interesting things. I had a client here, I sold a house and they were moving to Alaska and they weren't selling their home here, but they were going to buy a house in Alaska. So I got the outgoing referral for the house in Alaska, got the referral for the rental here through Rent Solutions, and now they decided they're going to sell the house here. So I've got the listing here. So, helping people along the way, they always come back to you.
Absolutely. And I definitely suggest, like I said, the social media, we've got the stuff already pre-done for you. So definitely use it. Okay. Talking about the cash flow of it really quickly, Joe. So and I put this in the document so you can see it. Basically, you get 21% as opposed to a regular 25%. Joe, why would you do that?
More money.
More money. Here's the thing, guys. These are so important to us to support our network partners as well, because they support us too. It's a back and forth thing. So Craig actually does not even take a cut out of the 21%. So you actually make more money. Okay.
It makes the network stronger if you're doing an outgoing referral through Cardis. It's making them stronger so you can have stronger relationships in other cities. So it supports the network.
Totally. And what's really cool about it is, think about it. We have a 69% conversion rate as opposed to giving it to a Bob at an XYZ company. I hope there's not an XYZ company. I use that all the time. And I'm like bashing them. But
where would you start trying to find somebody in let's just say Atlanta? I don't know anybody in Atlanta. So
I do.
Well, yeah, but you do, and the referral network has already vetted out agents in Atlanta that can help me. And the city is big, so Atlanta, you might have somebody that is really more specific to one area versus another, and they're going to know that. I'm not going to know that.
Absolutely, seriously, and I'm actually most of the time personal friends with these people that we use, so I can say, hey, we just have that personal connection, because I'm even dealing with something right now where it's all going to be worked out because of the personal connection. Now, I even talked to one agent the other day that had spent like 4 hours vetting all these people, you know, and that's, I mean, you've got so many better things to do. Just use my link or that app and get the referral to me, and I will always do the best thing in your clients and your best interest. Okay, so if you're walking around away from your closing table, think about it, and you could be walking away from money, right? So if you said, oh, well, I don't know anybody in Nebraska, so I just sold their house here, you know, like reach out, think about it, talk about it, right? So let's go to okay, so average checks, we can go back and forth, you all can read, but you're gonna get more money than going to do a 25% referral by yourself. Okay, so remember that. Okay, who's our partners? I might have missed one. I feel like I missed one, but that's okay. Sotheby's, Better Homes and Gardens, Coldwell Banker, ERA, and then of course we've got us, Century 21. So these are ironically under our Relogy umbrella. You want to tell what that means, Joe?
Yes, Relogy is our parent company, you might say, and everything, all these companies, Sotheby's, Better Homes, Coldwell Banker, ERA, we all are owned by Relogy, as well as Cardis. So we all fall under that umbrella. It's sort of like being in a big house. We're just in different rooms.
Absolutely, and we're their friends in outside markets.
That's right. No, I have friends in here too. So
oh,
yeah.
I know. Okay, so I also send this out to you all as well. Just some suggested taglines for your email addresses. Just another way to say, hey, remember me if you're moving at all. So it even says Earth is covered in 75% water. We cover the rest. Who do you know that's planning on buying or selling anywhere in the U.S.? Let's get your stuff set up from the very beginning. Let's make sure that you've got, you know, got this going and you don't miss out on any opportunities at all. Good.
And you know, I mean, I have a lot on LinkedIn and Facebook and stuff. You know, we all do the social media stuff. And I happened to be visiting in Australia with my son who lived there for a part-time, and I had him take a picture of me in Australia in front of a Century 21 sign, because we're in 72 countries around the world. So I put a thing on LinkedIn saying, hey, you know, here I am in Australia at one of my Century 21 offices. We can help you around the world. With that, I started getting people saying, hey, I'm moving here. Can you help me? Hey, I'm moving here. And it really, I mean, it's amazing. We do an outgoing referral, and here comes a check for $1,800, and here comes a check for $500. And all I did was post something on Facebook and LinkedIn, and people reached out to me to help them. So.
And I meant to get that picture from you. I forgot. It's a good picture. It's cool. Okay. So I'll send this out as well, and you can pick which one works out for you and tailor it to yourself. Okay, so now we're going into a different side of business, okay? So we were thinking everything outgoing. Now we're going to be transitioning into your business here locally. And that would be called the agent-generated referrals, okay? So where's my other, about Laura? Oh, okay. I mixed up a slide real quick. Okay, now we got to go back. This is going to get confusing.
There we go.
Now we're going back. Okay, so when we're talking about outgoing referrals, guys, that we had just talked about this whole time. So mom moving from California to Virginia and back and forth. Laura Maisel-Wolf, in a 12-month period, made $19,672 extra.
And she didn't have to put anybody in her car.
Didn't put anybody in her car, didn't pay for pictures, didn't have to go to anybody's messy house, didn't have to deal with a roof leak, didn't have to deal with the inspections. Look how happy she is. She's gonna get so much more Lily. but she is a top agent with us, and she truly values this, the partnership as well. So that says a lot about outgoing referrals. Okay, now we're gonna transition back. I really didn't mean to do that. Okay. So this is all of our business inside, once again, inside what you are taking care of, putting people in your car, once again, going to their house, doing the pictures, the whole 9 yards, okay? So we're transitioning inside of our area. Now, AGRs are agent-generated referrals are referrals you're currently working with. So let's say Joe is in my car and you happen to mention about your service in the military, however many years ago, and you served and you were at MacDill and you really liked it here. So now you're moving back from Alaska to Florida. And I say, oh, wow, thank you for your service, you know, and we talk about it for a minute. And then I say, oh, you actually have the ability to be in our Relogy military rewards program. Okay. Hopefully you say it better than me. I always get tongue tied. And they say, oh, really? There's a program for that? And we're like, this is to serve our military members and their families. And yes, you will get cash rewards after closing. Okay. Joe, what do you think about that?
I think it's a wonderful idea. I like cash.
Okay. So. Well, what about that other, and you would say, oh, my other agent that's driving me around at the same time didn't offer me that.
Right. You know, this is a way we can solidify the relationship because you're actually offering them something that other agents can't offer them.
Absolutely. And especially, I would also ask if you're a Navy Federal Credit Union member. If you're a Navy Federal Credit Union member, you're like, oh, I love them. I have my car loan from them. I have this from them. And I was planning on getting another pre-approval because you have a pre-approval because you're in my car. Another approval through Navy Fed because I think that they've got really good products right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, they do. Reach out to my friend and we'll get it set up. But that way you also get cash. So we're also doing these programs with AARP, American Airlines, Discover, Grow. Guys, we also, Deborah Haley is doing a program with Senior Transitions as well. And they also, I believe it's a gift card for that one. But whoever it is, please reach out to us. We are definitely looking for getting these people their cash rewards. And it's very likely that you will not only get that like and that trust that we always talk about, right? But you're going to have that loyal customer. And that loyal customer, I believe the National Association of Realtors says that if you close a deal, you should get 2 referrals off that deal. So here we are just, you know, growing our business together.
Actually, someone asked if you could go back to the taglines. They wanted to take a picture of that. The tagline slide.
Yes, I will. I'll do it. Yeah. And I'm also going to send that out too. So I'll give that a minute. They are cute though. Huh?
Well, I wanted to get that before we got too far away.
No, that's fine. Hopefully they're good. I think they're good.
Okay, take your pictures. Okay.
Okay. Oh. Now I'm like moving it and they're like, oh, I just tried. Okay. Okay. So now these programs do give C21 Beggins referrals as well. And that is something called the Relocation Team. Okay. And that is the quote unquote A team. I didn't name it. It was already named. But they give it to us. I give it to, okay, Joe is one of my A team agents. So Joe, your phone is ringing. You see it. You see it's Navy Federal calling. You answer very quickly. You press your 5 to connect immediately. And what happens then? You have a referral fee, right?
Yes, I have a referral fee. Then I have to pay to Cardis, and then but that's okay. I mean, there's a lot of ways to accumulate leads. Some of them, you know, some people pay a flat fee per month. The nice thing about the lead from Navy Federal or the incoming Relogy leads is we don't pay for that lead unless it closes. So, you know, we get a lead in, it might be a lead that we're going to pay money on, but for some reason it doesn't close or they can't buy or whatever, we don't have to pay for that lead until it actually closes. So that's one good positive thing about that.
Okay. So the whole idea of this is to make sure that we give them really great experience, right? And then, do you want to go ahead and talk about your letters?
Yes, let's talk about the experience. You know, I've been in sales for probably almost 40 years now, probably a little over 40. And what I've learned over the years is the experience that client has whether you're selling in the commercial world or you're selling, it doesn't really matter what you're selling. That experience that they have leads to more business, leads to a successful transaction. And as realtors, we often like to control the transaction. We're control freaks in many ways, but we have to be able to communicate well with them. And in every relationship, if you're working with a couple, one couple, likes pictures, another couple likes it written out. We talked about DISC in the last segment, and that's also about communicating. We've got to communicate the way in which that personality likes. If you have a C, you better be communicating in a lot of written documentation, dot the I, cross the T twice. If you're dealing with a D, you better be giving them the Reader's Digest version. And I, you better be giving them why it's good for him and what's in it for him. S, you better be asking how they feel about where they're going and what they're doing. So each personality has a different way you're going to have to write. That's why earlier they were talking about rewriting your profiles, because you have to appeal to all those personalities. So what I've found in not only managing, but also in sales, when a deal goes sideways, it usually goes sideways because you haven't set the expectation for them and you're not communicating with them. And what do I mean by setting the expectation? Well, everything we do needs to be explained, and why it's being done and how it's being done, setting the expectation. Because in the absence of us setting the expectation for the buyer, they set the expectation. Let's give an example. Mr. Client, you can reach me anytime between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. I'm taking calls during that time. That's my office hours. And then you have, if you've never had a discussion about when you're taking calls or when you're available, then they think at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, you should be answering that phone. So when you don't set an expectation, they've set it for you, okay? Their expectation is you're available at 10:30 at night. Hell, 10:30 at night, I'm already asleep. So, that's one of those things that you really have to work with, setting that expectation both orally and I use a series of letters, which Ashley is talking about, that I've developed over a number of years. Just, here is talking about when we introduction, when I first meet them, I send them something about me and how we go about looking at houses. And then there's another series where after they go under contract, giving them critical dates and what we need to do during the next 10 days. And then there's one after we get done inspection. So there's a series of things that you do because it always appeals to one of those people who in the relationship, there's two that likes things written. And sometimes it's easier if you write it down and send it to them, they can read it and then have a conversation with them after you've sent it, going, hey, I sent you this letter. Let's talk a little bit about it. And so, it really does help in the transaction, and it does lead to, a better transaction, but also it enters into a better survey. All right. So, because you're going to be surveyed. And, one of the big things in that survey is how well you communicated and did you understand the process and was it clear? So that is kind of really an important setting that expectation. And you know what, Ashley, I wanted to set that expectation because I want referrals from that client that I worked with for 2 months. I want them to refer me to their friends and their family in order to get more business. And so if you have if you set that expectation and you deliver and the communication is open and flowing all the time, you'll do well in that survey. If not, you won't do well in the company survey.
Well, what's really nice about that is it tells you exactly what they were thinking, right? So, maybe you'll think about, talking or, communicating with somebody a little bit different as opposed to sending only texts. That's one thing that I hear from people all the time is they won't either pick up the phone or, return my email. They'll just text me.
Yeah. And
how do you
go ahead.
How do you address that initially when you first meet with, like, for example, a buyer? How do you set that expectation?
Again, we talk about, hours of operation. I mean, you try to explain to people that, after 8 o'clock at night, I need to get family stuff done and whatever. If it's an emergency, I'll certainly handle it, but there's not too many emergencies at 8 o'clock at night that really can't wait till the next day unless you're in the middle of negotiating a contract. We often kill ourselves because we're constantly being accessible, and that's great, but it also wears you out, especially this time of year where, if you feel like you're on call until 11 o'clock at night. So you kind of, again, when you have that one-on-one conversation, I'm available 8 to 8. Please feel free to call me, text me, email me, and explain, hey, if you email me and I'm on the road with a client, I'm probably not going to see that until I'm done. If you text me, I'll be able to see that between calls. And I tell them, I will answer the phone all the time unless I'm with a client or I'm on the phone. Otherwise, I'm going to answer. So everyone understands it, and I think you can easily talk about that with people. But it's setting that expectation so they don't go crazy at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when they text or call you, and you don't respond within a couple minutes that they realize you may be with somebody else. And it's setting that expectation, explaining how you want to do. Hey, we're one of the few industries out there that can be reached almost all the time. All right. So putting a little nugget on there and say, hey, but in an emergency or we're negotiating a contract, Mr. Client, we may be talking back and forth until 10 o'clock at night to get your deal under contract. But in the normal situation, we're not going to be. But
I think it's the education more than anything that helps, especially first-time home buyers. Or even people that have bought homes, 10 times. When we were talking about the agent generated referrals, I really was kind of going to the fact that Joe Diener has been amazing. You have been amazing at getting these done, right? So the only reason that you have so many agent generated referrals is because you helped them previously, right? And they came back to you. So they came back to you, and I'll even just share, if you don't mind, you did 11 additional closings last year, 11, right? Yeah. Just because people came back to you because you've done such a good job with the follow-up and making sure they had a really good experience. 6 of those were listings, which I don't even know how many buyer leads you got off the listings that you got. Can you tell me? Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. But you know what? These listings are going fast too, right? Yeah. So you had $3,931,490 additional in sales. That's because you created that extraordinary experience, and they like you, trust you, and then you can keep in touch with them, and they remember your name. They remember when you're going to call and say happy anniversary. And do you remember what that put in your pocket? Do you still have it? The money?
No, I still have it. It's in the bank. Well, and the big thing is why we're talking about, I've been here in Tampa now for 12, 13 years. So I've acquired a large base here of business, but I also sold in Maryland, and I still keep in touch with them. And it's surprising. Somebody from my past client who I sold him a house in Maryland has moved here, and I sold him a house here. So, it's all about keeping in contact with them. And that's a whole nother part of touch points and how we touch and reach out to our past clients. And that's a whole nother class in itself.
Well, it was an extra over $66,000.
Yes.
Because you are building, you've been building. You did originally come from another brokerage that also had some of these programs, but so referral fees here and there for all kinds of different things happen, right? So
actually, there's a question here. Can you send us a list of the rewards, what type and from whom? And that's from Esther Rodriguez. I'm not exactly sure. Esther,
send me an email real quick. You've got my email. It's relocation@c21be.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to create an experience, whether it's enrolling somebody in a program, helping somebody find, oh, I didn't realize I was still sharing my screen. Sorry, guys. Goodness. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Thought it got taken away from me, honestly. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of funny.
I'm glad you brought up those statistics. I just keep selling. I don't pay attention, honestly. I just keep writing offers and contracts. So
well, $66,000. I mean, seriously, keep it coming.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I didn't want all of this stuff, but one thing I would like to bring up for everybody out there, think about it. There's so many different ways that people come to us now, right? We've got the people that are tapping in the middle of the night, and they may need something that's a little bit different than somebody that you already know in your sphere, right? Because the sphere of people they already like you, know you, trust you. Let's say you get an op city lead, Joe, and you've been working it, and then
this is the fun part when someone else comes in, right? Are you talking about double dipping?
Well, I just want everybody to know, please don't double dip, because we always have to respect the source, and that's it. I mean, that's the easiest way to say it, and it's short, sweet, to the point. Op city or Zillow leads are not eligible for other programs, right? So they're all just different programs.
So stay in your lane, basically. Like if it's an op city lead, stay with that. You can't go off and offer them other like a Navy federal deal.
I just wanted to throw that out there. It isn't, we don't have to go too far into it, but I also just wanted to say, like, especially taking care of these clients the way that Joe has, he's put like the different rules that that some of these programs will have to update and keep track of them into his regular business. And when you do that, it creates an exceptional experience, because this is all based on statistics and things that we know work, right?
You know, you brought up an interesting point, Ashley. The way to be successful in any sales business is to create the same pattern for everybody. In other words, you do the same thing each time. It's like, okay, when I'm pending a deal, I'm pending it, and I'm also sending the information to Relo, and I'm also sending the information to the home office. So you have to have a series of processes so you don't miss a step. And if you write it down and do it the same way all the time, it becomes a habit that you do this and you don't forget it. And that's the only way I can put that point, is the fact that you have to be consistent. So every client will get an introduction letter regardless of what it is. And every client will get a letter, even though it was developed for relocation, it crosses into regular domestic sales from it right in Tampa.
Absolutely, because it's that consistency and hoping that, having everybody, once again, educated, right? So that, I mean, I can't even say that enough, just because, I've had someone, not at this company, another company, literally pull up to closing in a brand new car. And he's not a first-time home buyer,
right.
Brand new. So what do you do in that sense? Sign as fast as you can, I guess. I'm just saying,
exactly.
Like, oh my God.
Well, and the other things, it's like incorporated into the letters, like congratulating them on their closing. is a paragraph talking about don't go buy anything now. Don't change your credit situation. Don't go buy a new car. Don't go buy furniture. Don't buy the big screen TV. I mean, we have to have these conversations. I know it sounds really strange, but the lenders aren't having that conversation with the people, and it's their loan, and they're not having this. Hey, buddy. Hey, Fred. Don't go. I know you're driving a car that's 10 years old. Wait till after you close to buy the new car.
Well, because, okay, I'm a buyer and I'm all excited, right? I can't wait to decorate my new house.
Right.
And I already got clear to close.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
part of the problem, and with the new finance laws, is they're going to check 5 days before closing. They're going to check all the credit worthiness and employment verification again, and they have to do that. And if they don't do that, you know, they're going against one of the rules of the loan processes, because we had people years ago, they might lose their job a week before closing. Well, they already checked employment in the beginning of the thing. So here they are selling a house to somebody who doesn't even have a job. All right. So the feds came in after the last recession and changed a lot of these rules. And it's just, when you work in the business such as mortgage, you just think everybody knows the do's and don'ts. And I just assume that nobody knows these. I rather say it in a letter to them or say it to them in person. By the way, so you know, don't go and do any of this stuff right now, because I don't want to get down 5 days before closing. You've packed all your furniture and you're given up your apartment, and now the lender denies your loan and you have no place to go. And, you know, my sofa isn't that comfortable. So, you know, that's really important, and that's the communication. And sometimes it's an old saying, but sometimes we are doing a little more than we probably should, but we have to make sure that, especially new home buyers, you're right, Ashley, they're very happy. Oh, we have room for the 70-inch screen TV, and we want that sofa we saw at Hudson's. And the next thing you know, they've gone out and bought a lot of things on credit, and they've killed their back-end ratio, and now they don't qualify for a loan.
Okay, and going off of that, okay, so mortgage experience, that's a big deal right now, right? And so the clients usually put us together with everybody that they've touched, right? Because you're the ringmaster, really. So sure. From title companies to mortgage brokers to the people that inspect your home for pests and termite control. So how is it that you have and mortgage is a big one. So how is it that you create that experience from the very beginning to the end? Like especially when it comes to things that necessarily we're not responsible for, right?
No.
So
you brought up an excellent point. One of the biggest things that I have found is you have to find very reputable people that you're going to recommend for, i.e. inspections, lenders, they come to you and they have no lender. They don't know anything. They're a first time home buyer. And I can.
How many people do you recommend, and do you put it in writing?
Oh, yes. I usually will recommend 2 or 3 out of each category and explain which one and say, hey, you may call them, whatever. 9 times out of 10, I give them the references. They typically don't, but I always put it down here. Here are several people for insurance. Here are several people for inspection, and you kind of go through that with them.
Perfect. So, especially too,
Ashley,
explaining.
Real quickly before we go, sending communication via letter, i.e. expectations, contract, and inspection letter. Is there a generic template that can be used for the basic unit format? No, there's no generic format. I'm trying, Dwayne Hudson. Dwayne, if you do me a favor, I got I'll write your email address. I don't have we really should actually have some kind of format. I mean, I have the letters, but you don't want to, you can't, you write a letter in your own voice, all right, and what you are, and so you have to kind of redo it anyway, but I can give you kind of what you cover in each letter, and that'll help you put it in your own voice. But obviously in an introduction letter, you're going to say how excited you are that you're going to be working with them, would be one paragraph. The second paragraph, let me tell you a little bit about myself, since I spent some time on the phone finding out about you. So here's a small paragraph about me. And then 3, let's talk about how we go about buying a house, as far as, making appointments for seeing houses, because some people have, people come from all different areas of the country, and believe it or not, they don't work the same way everywhere. All right. In some areas of the country, you don't give a deposit on the property until after you do an inspection. But here we give a good faith deposit when we're putting the offer in. So it's really important to kind of sit down and talk to them. Here's the process that we're going to go through buying a house, because it's different in different areas. We've got the contract. You're going to have to give a good faith deposit of about this much money. And then you're going to talk about doing inspections, and then you're going to talk about financing and everything else like that, and how you go about. So yeah, it's, it's a compilation of the last almost 20 years in real estate, trying to figure out. I developed because of relocation, Ashley, because sometimes these people are in Korea and you're not really having a chance to one-on-one talking with them until they're really in front of you a few weeks later. So
awesome. And also, I would really like to throw in there, for the whole experience, making sure you are best friends with that mortgage company and the mortgage loan officer, making sure that you are communicating with them, whether they've gotten the HOA information. We've run into that quite a few times.
It's really important to, as you're establishing yourself as a realtor, to get good partners in the business that you can rely on. And, inspectors, sometimes one will get tied up. Well, you better have 2 or 3 that you can refer to. And some inspectors are really good at certain things like older homes, and some inspectors, don't like them. So again, it's really important to have that network of people.
It's all about taking care of the customer. It really is. And making sure that we're doing the right thing, being kind to each other, and making sure that we take care of each other. Mm-hmm. So I know Joe mm-hmm. obviously does that. So that's why so many people come back to him. So that's awesome. So you just made an extra, $66,000 because people like you. And it's way more than that, because not all of your business is that. We're talking about all of business. It's not just
about $10 or $12 million a year. It fluctuates from year to year. I try to keep it consistent.
Right, and that's what you do whenever you've been in this business for 13 years. So.
Well, 20 years.
20.
Yeah. So there are a couple questions here, Ash, real quick. Joanne, can you send me an email at joediener@c21be.com, and I will help you with that. Dwayne,
sure, you know what? I'm going to put our email addresses in here, so it's just in there, so you have it and you can use it anytime you want. Next week would be great.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I wanted to get Dwayne's before we.
Okay. So yeah, basically we're just talking about making sure that you're taking care of the customer as a whole, right? Mm-hmm. Is it that they're going to need to have, outbound services that is going to, going to really take care of them? Is it, what can we help with them here? And Joe is a really great example of that, and he's the top agent. So that makes a big difference too, because obviously you find value in keeping, all your referrals going. So
I wanted to see if anybody had some questions out there, Ash, we've been talking for 40 minutes here. So as to see if there's any other questions out there we might be able to help with, or to.
Yeah, we've got a lot of friends that aren't technically with our company. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple from Redwood. Say hi to Tina for us.
Again, setting back that expectation. I can't, Ashley, you typed my email.
Panelist. Sorry. Y'all already have my email. You don't
but mine is DEANER. Setting that expectation, I talk about that a lot at our sales meetings, because that's really when you don't really sit and explain. And you got to remember, these people are not in the business. They don't do this 70 hours a week. All right. We do. All right.
I just thought of something too. I'm VA and I don't have to put anything down. That's a whole nother expectation.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we do need to make sure you're having those conversations, and sometimes they're tough. But once again, setting the expectation so that they realize, that they don't realize as you're writing a contract that they need to come up with $10,000. Or
that's why in my letter it says, hey, you have to have a good faith deposit of around 1% of the value, and some sellers may request more depending on the value of the house. So that's setting the expectation. And I go, it's one of the questions, especially VA buyers. They're told, oh yeah, I don't need anything down. Well, what they don't understand is they don't need anything down for their mortgage, but they do need a deposit. And depending on, and then of course the other thing is their lender's telling them that, oh, the seller will pay all your closing costs. Well, fortunately, this market, that's almost impossible with, I just pulled the reports. In Hillsborough County, we have 1.1 months supply on hand of single family homes. The chances are slim to none that they're going to get closing cost help from a seller right now, unless that house has been on the market for a month or more. They're gone so fast. I had a client out this weekend, and 2 of the houses they were looking at were already in multiple offers. So, if you have people need closing costs help, they're not even going to be able to compete. Even with escalation clauses and stuff like that, you can only go up so much. You got to appraise. So,
and if I'm sitting in your car driving around, you want to know that I know that, and that I'm comfortable with giving 1%.
Sometimes it's an uncomfortable conversation when you're talking with them, like saying, so tell me, has your lender approved you yet? And have they talked to you about closing costs? So you're trying to get an understanding where they are in the process. Sometimes they're such in the beginning that they're really needing your help. They really need to have some kind of guidance. And if you think of a wheel, we're kind of in the middle of the wheel, right? We have, the lender, we have the inspectors, we're in the center of that wheel making that thing go around. And unfortunately, we can't get out of that. Even everybody calls the real estate agent when there's a problem, even though it's not our problem. So
make sure you're the one that has that list of the AC people and everything else. Make sure you're the one that they're calling when they close, so that that you have that relationship and that help. And I know that Joe Diener does that, and we've got an awesome team that has lots of resources as well. This asking for, hey, I need a roofer or any of that type thing. So we aim to please for sure. And I did mean Joe Diener.
Yes.
I'm glad he can spell his own name, so we're good. And so anyways, so I can't type and talk, but yeah, so if you have any questions or anything, and like I said, we really try to make it a whole experience at C21 Beggins. Joe's an amazing example of that. So I thank you for everything that you do for these clients, Joe, and all the other people that are at Beggins. I mean, even our leadership team is great and very helpful and knows their stuff. I think that you could probably figure that out by now.
We have an awesome management team. I mean, and you know, and it's funny because when someone calls me with a question and goes, hey, I have this, and I'm like, you know, that's not my expertise, but it is Thomas's or is Chris's or whatever. And you know, I answer questions. I mean, I get calls all the time from anybody. I don't care if they work for me or, you know, work in South Tampa or not. I'm very happy to help them. And I think that's just the way the whole team is.
Yes, I've got to say, like, more than anything, that is what we're doing here, is once again trying to create that experience for our clients, and you know, that's what feeds us for sure. So, well, you know what? But at the end of the day, we're in it to help people. I think that if everybody has that mindset, we're in it to help people. Be kind, help people, and the rest of it will come. So.
Have fun, help people, make money.
There we go. Now we've got Jeff Beggins. Okay. Thank you, guys. I know everybody probably needs a bio break.
Yes, I think so. Okay. Thank you. If anybody has questions, feel free to email us.
Enjoy the rest of your time and exciting. I mean, seriously, this is actually really good stuff. I've been listening to all of it myself. They, the management team here is amazing. So get all the, you know, take all your notes that you can.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Have a good day.